All right, rise and shine. It's Merlin Collects and Dan the Great. You are not Dan. Who the hell are you?
Hey, I'm
Two nerds wishing they could grow. There's a podcast called Between Two Slabs. They consume mass media. It seems so sad. It's the great curator and Merlin. They can't grow pubes, so they gotta wear a merkin. They got no money, so I guess they gotta share. Just two nerds wishing they could grow body hair. Comics, cards, and toys, nothing that would interest you. It's the podcast that nobody listens to.
All right, rise and shine. No, it is. This is Merlin Collects, and no, that is not Dan the Great Curator. He is off in Asia visiting his wife's family and then in Japan. So, he's looking for collectibles. But tonight I've got my celebrity guest host from the hobby. It is Alex Tressler, known on Instagram and other social media as Army ATC 22. Now, Alex, first of all, why did you choose Army ATC 22 as the card hobby social media handle?
First off, hey, thanks for reaching out. I'm honored to be on
Thank
here.
you.
As a celebrity guest host, celebrity with air quotes, people. Right? So
for our show, you're a celebrity.
But hey, look, I got the Saturday morning card shirt on, right? Got to rep for Dan while he's gone,
right?
So hey, it's not all lost. So Army ATC 22 is a combination of different things. When I got really back into the hobby and everything and started collecting, I was in some dark times. I went through a divorce and I needed a hobby. I needed to get something off my mind and everything else. And I was in the Army at the time.
And when was this?
This was around 2007 to 2008.
Oh, a while back.
And
okay.
I grew up with my dad and my brother, opening packs and searching for certain cards and stuff like that. We did more of the oddball type of stuff, like getting the post serial UPCs, sending them in, and you get the sets back in the mail and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
We still have tons of those like worthless sets, back home and everything these days. But at some point, I stopped collecting cards. I think most people, I tell them the same thing. It's called puberty. And I think I found out sports and girls, and I'm like, that's nerdy. Back then, now, all those kids in those preteen years and stuff like there's money involved in this. Like, yes, I'm dealing with cards and I'm going to let you know. So like I said, I joined the Army straight out of high school and everything. And then, didn't do anything with it for a while, and then went through a bad divorce, and I needed a hobby. And while I was at work, it was bring your family or kids to work day one day, and one of my soldiers had his son with him. They were opening a box of 2007 Topps Chrome baseball, and when they opened it, I was like, I remember doing that with my dad. And next thing you know, I was watching them, and they pulled an autograph card out of the pack, and I'm like, I don't remember that. So that sparked my interest, and of course, I did the deep dive in the dial-up networking of internet and everything else, trying to find out as much as I could, and found the rabbit hole that is the hobby back then, and went from there. So I got on the forums, I got into YouTube, and that's where I originally started, was YouTube. And I was like, you got to have a username, right? Back to your original question. So I was in the Army. My job was air traffic control, ATC. Okay. And my lucky number is 22. So you put them together.
Wow.
ATC 22. Now,
Gotcha.
The funny thing about it is so many people mess it up. They'll say Army Act, Army Act all the time. Everywhere. I need to make a reel of people going through saying
Army at C22.
Army Cat, everything. It's incredible. So it stuck with me since. I started my YouTube channel back in 2007, 2008 timeframe. And a lot of people know me from one of the first pulls that went viral. Well, not really viral. Back then, viral was like a few hundred views. And I actually got it made on a shirt.
And when was this?
This was in 2008. That card,
oh gosh, that's a long time ago.
That's a John Stockton and Steve Nash dual logo man auto from Exquisite Basketball. And if you know anything, logo mans are expensive. This was and I was in my uniform breaking, everything else. It's really funny.
So you were breaking in 08?
Yeah. So we were. There's
wow.
This another thing that a lot of people don't know about the community of card collecting is there's a whole YouTube community of card collectors, not just the ones you watch constantly, their blogs and everything else. There is a whole card collecting community within of just showing your mail days and other things and everything else like that. And I found that group of individuals really early on. And that's where I've met a lot of my friends for over the years, like Jay Mojo and Ryan, Card Collector 2, all them that do all these videos have been doing it forever, get thousands of views, millions of views. They watched my videos when they were in middle school, when they were younger. Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's why I've known them for a while.
Oh wow! I have not known that you have been doing this for this long, and I didn't even know that breaks existed back in those days. That seems like eons ago.
It's even crazier because of the amount of trust that went into it's the stuff that it's evolved in today for breaking is because of the trust issues just constantly being broken. So back then we would make a video on YouTube saying, I want to break these boxes. And then you would sign comments. The next one would be like, send the payments in here. And then you're waiting for a randomizer of your teams. None of this was live.
Oh, none of it was
live. And then it turned into you didn't watch the video breaking, so you'd come home that night from work or whatever you're doing, and you'd be waiting for the host, whoever's doing the group break, to post the video of the break because you're waiting to see what you pulled and everything. So it was different times, and then that just evolution. The evolution happened by, blog TV came out with live breaks on that, then breakers.tv, and then now everything we have with Instagram and Facebook and Fanatics and whatnot and everything. It's been wild.
Oh my goodness, that is crazy. And so you've just been in it like deep in since the mid 2000s, basically. And then you were still in it, I guess, when a lot of people I didn't get back into it. I went off and on, college, the ladies' career, moving, So I'd gotten back out of it in college back in the early 90s, back during the junk wax era. And that's also how I made my beer money back in college, was doing that. And then I didn't get back into it probably till the end of 2018 when I was editing a documentary about hockey in the early 90s, the Red Army team. So I started, reminiscing about the hockey cards I bought of all those famous Russian players that had come to the U.S. to play NHL for the first time. Remember all those guys like Sergei Fedorov and all these people?
Yep.
And I started buying the first cards I bought, of course, was like RPAs of Mahomes and Luka Doncic. I didn't know anything. And this was just me looking on eBay, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's got a rookie logo. It's got a serial number, a patch, and autograph. So I was like, I'll buy that. I had no clue if the hobby was hot or not. I just thought it was cool. And I had some extra money to spend, and I bought a few. And then, of course, I got back more and more into it. I didn't know anybody in LA who was even in the hobby. I didn't think anybody was doing it. So I collected all this stuff. And the time when the pandemic hit, I had just 1,000 cards at this point, and a lot of them were slabbed. And I started selling some of them off to pay for rent. And little did I know I was going to make 10 times more than editing or anything. Plus I was editing too from home, but it was like the gold rush for me. And then I was so excited when they finally, opened LA again. And I went to some card shows to have an experience. And then I started meeting everybody. I don't know if the same thing was you, that I started meeting the community, because I started following people on YouTube and I would watch them go to shows. And I was like, so I reached out to them, like, when's the next show? I'll meet you down in Orange County. And then, of course, like the first show I go to, I film it. I have a buddy goes with me. And that's where I meet the great curator. I meet the show locator. I met Jay from the premiere show and the Burbank Card Show. And I was like, got the community. And then, of course, I started befriending the curator, and he's like, Merlin, come with me to the Dallas Card Show. You'll love it. They'll love you. Bring all your weird stuff. besides sports cards, because I had all the Star Wars cards already slabbed, and I was like, God, who wants this stuff? Like, why did I just do this? Then I go to Dallas, and all that stuff is sold, and the rest is history. I just traveled every single weekend, and you have been doing this since the mid 2000s. Were you still doing content all through the 2010s up to the pandemic?
My stuff back then wasn't more like the stuff I do today. It was mainly it was mainly like show and mail days and going on little trips and meeting up with some other friends from the hobby from other places. Okay. I got to go to a couple different card shops. I filmed a little bit around there. Like, I think one of my earliest national videos was like 2012, I believe. And it wasn't so much on the show floor. It was more of recap every day type of an event, showing what my pickups were. And I think, if I remember correctly, they're still on my YouTube also. That
you have the same channel you've always had, correct?
Yeah.
So you still have a lot of stuff archived. We can see you in your young days.
So there was a time frame. Everyone looks at the hobby and what we do and everything differently. Some people might be ashamed of it because they think that it's a nerdy aspect or whatever. You got to be, you don't want certain individuals to see it. So when it was later on, and it was around the 2020 time frame, maybe a little bit before, around the pandemic, I went through and I made all my videos private, majority of them. Because of the positions I was in the Army and everything.
So in 2020, you were still in the Army.
Oh, I was, yes. And when I was getting ready to tell you, is like during the gold rush of the pandemic, that you got to, I was actually deployed in Afghanistan. So all of my cards that I could have been selling were chilling in my storage unit, just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And by the time I got the cards back and everything, the boom was still technically there, but it wasn't as much there. So,
and when did you get back? When did you return?
I returned the middle of 2020, and then I moved from upstate New York to Fort Eustis, where I eventually retired from, whatever. But by the time I can get my stuff out of the storage and it got delivered down there and everything else, it was the end of 2020. So, the pandemic's already been full force for a year, a little less than a year at that point.
Right. Oh, wow. So what made you get into it even like more after the pandemic, like where you are now? Tell us how it evolved.
It evolved for the aspect of, this is, and I tell everyone, this has always been an outlet for my everyday life, right? Just going stuff that I've gone. I mean, it started with, when I was going through the divorce, getting back into the hobby. I needed my mind to get off stuff, and I felt that way ever since, and I can get on and get in front of the camera, show off some stuff or whatever like that. Just gets it away from everything else that's going on. I eventually got to go back to that real life every once in a while too, so that's the part that sucks. But and it's just evolved to, I've always been that type of person. I'm not afraid for someone to tell me no. I'm not afraid, ask the questions and everything else. And I've always been that type of person. I want to help individuals. I'm an educator at heart. I like taking care of, I love taking care of soldiers when I was in the Army, and I love taking care of, new hobbyists and people that are in the industry. And that's just simple things like, hey, this is the difference between a base card and a refractor, or, this is a patch card or jersey card. This way is better for you to help protect it than this way. All that type of stuff, the stuff that I do with the national, the tips for the national leading up to it and everything else, saying, hey, I've been to nationals multiple times, a whole bunch of times. These will help you if you've never been, or if you're thinking about going, to help for, just different things.
And so do you have a day job?
I do. So I retired 2 years ago from the Army after 22 years. And then I turned around and got a civilian job working for the Army as a DA civilian.
Oh, wow. And so tell the audience, like, what are you doing now for the hobby? Like, I heard you're like a brand ambassador or a hobby ambassador? Like, what is it exactly?
I am a free agent for everybody. I enjoy certain individuals came to me for the products and everything else or I've just stumbled upon, so I am a brand ambassador technically for Vaulted, with their cases and everything else. I have mine over there. So I do a lot of stuff with them. You can see on my channel, I have done a few stuff. Incredible. Shane, who's the owner, does incredible stuff with that. I am a media ambassador for the CSA show and for the Philly show, which
the CSA is the Chantilly show in Virginia,
Chantilly
correct?
Show. Yeah, it's so everyone says the Chantilly show. It's actually the CSA show.
Okay.
That's in Chantilly, Virginia. But
everyone.
everyone.
The CSA is it CSA means something else than Chantilly?
Yeah, it is, and I can't remember the freaking what wild. People ask all the time, and I know it. I forget it.
Oh, I just thought it meant like Chantilly show.
Oh, nope, it's not.
But, associates. I don't know.
The individuals that run it are, one of the individuals that is one of the partners for the National actually runs the Philly show. It's his show, and he's one of the partners that runs the CSA show. He's one of the partners of the National. So gotten really good with their PR team and everything else, and they like the stuff that I do for the show and helping them out and stuff. So I've came on the last year doing stuff for them and everything, and actually next weekend I'm going to be up in Philly for the Philly show, doing the media.
So when did your content start picking up? I started I felt like taking more notice either the end of last year, the beginning of this year. What made you decide to pick it all up the way it is now?
When I retired 2 years ago, I kind of had more free time.
Gotcha.
Right. I decided I was just like, I'm gonna take the hobby of mine, go a little bit farther. For me, I'm still in the same mindset. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care of how many followers I have, people that comment, or whatever. I just want to put myself out there. And if you want to watch, you want to watch. If not, hey, it's whatever. And I want to consume as much content from everybody else. I'm a really likable person, and it takes a lot for me to not like someone and everything. And every person in the hobby, everyone is different. Everyone has their different way of making content or, way that they're doing stuff, and that's completely fine. It's just the ones that are out there they want to be negative and everything else,
right,
and better than everyone else. It's just, those are the ones that just, I don't want to associate with, and that's completely, and
you're
that's
just here to enjoy things.
Yeah. Positive. If there's one book, I'll tell everybody, if there's one book you read, it's called The Secret. All right.
Yes.
If you've never read it, you need to read it. Right? You completely understand. You give off the positive vibes, you're going to get them back.
Right. They will reciprocate. Well, everybody feels that, has that sixth sense of someone's energy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and I saw you at the beginning of this year of 2024, I guess the first show, well, besides Dallas, with the Culture Collision.
It was probably Culture Collision.
Culture Collision. You were at the Dallas show the week before, right?
I was. Yes, I was.
You were. Yeah, I thought so. I was like, man, I'm seeing you everywhere. So that's another thing. I'm like, how do you decide which shows you're going to go to? And oh man, how do I put this in my budget?
If you've looked at the certain ones that I've gone to, those were different. Those I try to budget throughout the whole year.
Right.
And I have my the way that I deal with cards, the day I deal with my everyday paycheck. I'm 100% disabled, so I get that disability and everything else.
Oh wow. Okay.
I kind of branch it off into different things, and one of those branches goes into my card collecting travel budget, right, and everything. If I know that I want to go to, say, the West Coast Card Show, which used to be the Burbank show, or the Dallas show, or wherever, I'm going to make sure I have a date in my calendar, and I'm working towards getting that stuff, figured out. Majority of the shows, though, a lot of them that I'm at are on the East Coast, and I'm able to drive to.
Okay.
So, luckily, to New York all the way down to, technically Georgia, Florida area, it's technically within driving distance for me and stuff. So, I can do that stuff. But I've been privileged to have other individuals help out with, the aspect of, getting to these places and stuff. Because I don't need to be paid to go anywhere to help, do some stuff, whatever. The logistical side is getting there and staying there. That's all I need. Right.
Right.
Everything else, I can pay for my own meals. I can pay for everything there, and stuff like that. If you want me to come in and shoot some content for you, or, help you out with this, whatever, I'll do it. Just get me there. And I'm all game.
So have you ever set up a show?
Oh, I do all the time. I'm
you
actually,
do? Okay.
that's where I evolution. My evolution started with more stuff online, and then 2 years ago I decided it's about 2.5 years ago I decided I'm like I want to start setting up at shows because I went to a couple card shows local by with some of the stuff I had, and they're like, why aren't you setting up? Why are you just doing this all online? So I started out small at one table, and now I think my setup's like 3 tables wide. So I
Because
have
I feel like a lot of shows where I see you, you're not set up. You're just like
no
there to shoot content.
seen me. The shows you see me, I I I'd rather walk around, interact, and do some
Right.
stuff rather than setting up and deal with more of the trade nights than
Yeah,
mainly
it can be exhausting from
the
what
show.
I've learned.
But
So usually set up at stuff that's more in the regional area.
correct.
Gotcha.
You know,
Well, you
like
set up at CSA,
I used to, but now since it's
so now
you know,
you're
over
strictly
the
doing
media,
content.
I gave up my table to a good friend that actually is here in Richmond, so he does it now. And then I'm doing the media stuff with him. But the good thing about like these type of shows, like I'll bring a box full of stuff, and I'll probably sell more doing walking around than I would be at the actual table. It's wild.
Oh yeah, I see that. I totally believe it. Like when we were at Culture Collision, this same thing happened to us. Like we didn't set up like we did in Dallas, and I bet you I made 3 times more than I did at Dallas.
But my problem is like my out of my 3 tables, I do have some like memorabilia, some 8x10s, and I have tons of value boxes full of stuff that's where majority of my money's made is
Oh
about.
yes.
And when I'm going to show driving stuff, and it's hard to carry around tons of value boxes with you, stuff like that. I think the next show that I'm setting up at is in Raleigh. It's a pretty big show in Raleigh. The first
Is it like
week
on the fair side or something?
it's at the fairgrounds,
Right.
and it's the first weekend in January. Pretty big show, and so I'm setting up. I haven't set up in a while because of everything else that I'm dealing with and stuff. So
you'll drive down there with your dollar boxes, of course.
Yep, I'll drive
It's
down.
probably not that far of a drive anyway.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's nothing, man. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm discovering, especially like this year, I've also done a lot of like more like collectible type shows. I did like the Collecticon. I've been doing over here on the West Coast, the front row card shows. I don't know if you've ever attended one,
No,
but I'm noticing that there is these shows are packed. Like literally, it's packed. It feels like when I started going to card shows right after the pandemic, people just wanted to get out and spend and interact with people. And it's like sardines, and people are buying like crazy. But it's anything from like the $1 to the $100 range.
Yep.
And I'm selling that stuff like left and right. Things like over $100, it's taking a while. And things over 1,000, it's like one of 1,000 odds of selling one of those, things, unless you're at the National or something.
I tell everyone,
You
I tell everyone that the sweet spot is from the dollar to about it's around 150 range or whatever. If you have a plethora of those cards, like you can move them left and right, because you got to think everyone that's there at the show and stuff, majority of, I would say probably 98% of those individuals there are the middle class, everyday working man, just like me and you and everything,
Right.
that can't go out and spend your whole paycheck on one card, but they'll spend like a couple $100s on a few cards or whatever, because that's a bit easier for them and stuff. But there are that 2% or so that are walking around that room that are possibly looking for that, $500,000 card or whatever like that. So that's why it's still good to have it out there. Plus,
have a few laid out, right?
It's eye appeal. You put that card, and I tell everyone the same thing. You have your showcase. You put those big cards in the middle, because they look in the middle, then they'll look all around. If you put it at the bottom or the top, they're going to miss all that other stuff. You put it.
So that's the ones you should showcase in the sweet spot, right?
Yep.
In the bullseye.
Yep.
But that's another thing I was asked you, because like, what do you usually have at your shows? Like, what do you collect? What do you sell or trade? How do you set up your tables when you go to a show? You're like, okay, this show is going to be this one. Do you make it specific to that type of show, or do you usually have the same setup at all your shows?
It's always been the same setup, because all the same shows. I've never really set up at like a collect. It's really funny you said Collecticon and stuff like that. They've had it here in Collecticon came to Richmond this year,
Right.
but so happened to be somewhere else. We had another show somewhere else the same weekend. I was pretty upset because I wanted to go check it out and everything. So a lot of the shows that I set up are mainly the sports aspect. So all the main sports and everything. Mine are all over the place. I kind of get some cases that just have the slabs in it and a lot of the raw. I have more raw than I do slabs anyways. And then it's broken down by, of course, the bigger ones, the more eye appeal out in the case. And then I have a couple boxes that are all already priced, from anything from like $15 up to, whatever's left over or whatever in there. I think like 2-4 rows full of stuff that's priced out. And then it's just value boxes all for days. 8x10s I have laid out. I have some other memorabilia and stuff like that or whatever. Because
what are your like 8x10s? Are you mostly sports?
No, and that's why I can get to it kind of segue into something like a lot of people don't know. I have a pretty decent 8x10 signed collection. And it's sport and non-sport stuff. So I have some here with me.
Show, please. Go ahead.
And it's everything. It's really wild. So Leaf have, how they have Leaf Pop Century for
of course.
They used to have mystery 8x10 boxes you can open, and there were signed 8x10s and stuff. And
Leaf did that?
Yeah. It was Leaf and TriStar had some incredible products. And I would get into breaks because I'm a big movie buff, everything else and stuff like that. I love the entertainment aspect and stuff. So I'd be looking for certain people's autographs and stuff, whatever. And over time, I've collected a lot from, other ones I've gotten and traded and sold and got some others. But there's stuff like, like Vern Troyer, right? Little mini-me auto. Pretty sweet, right?
Oh, my gosh. So that's autographed by Vern?
Yeah.
And so you pulled this like out of like a blind box of 8x10s?
Yep. Either I did it or, a group breaker did it and everything else like that and stuff. So,
and does Leaf have like a cert sticker on there or something?
Yep. So a lot of them, good bit of them, they're all like either PSA, DNA.
Wow. Okay.
With the certification and stuff like that. You got like old Tommy Chong. Chong auto. Like,
boy. Looks like he's very happy.
Tell me which actors this is.
That's Alonzo Rivera from Fresh Prince.
Rivera, right? Just there's little ones like that. Negan, right?
From Walking Dead autograph. Wow.
This one's, I love this one with the bold red right here.
That's the famous episode. That was the beginning of what, like 4 seasons or like that.
Like one of the most popular sports games ever. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You got Mike
from the old Nintendo game.
Yeah, but I mean, I got big actors like Johnny Depp.
Whoa, you pulled that one out of the thing?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a good one.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, Kiefer Sutherland,
good
shows of all time, 24. Kiefer
Sullivan,
John Travolta.
You got autographed John Travolta. Whoa.
Yeah. Travolta. I mean, Matt Damon. Here's some of my favorite ones. Matt Damon. You can't see it. It's actually like right here.
I'm surprised are these for sale, or I'm surprised you still have them.
These are my collection.
Okay. I was like, those are pretty on fire stuff, man. Is that Ben Affleck?
Christian.
Or is that Michael Keaton?
Christian Bale.
Oh, that's Christian Bale character, The Dark Knight.
Yep, Christian Bale.
Ooh, that's a good one.
These two are my two favorite. Adam Sandler and Billy Madison.
Oh, wow.
Right, that's an awesome.
The nurse back there with her reaction.
This one, I got into a break with Chris Justice from Cards Infinity. He used to do these all the time. And he would do it by the last name, like the first letter, last name. So you get like the letter H, right? And I'd be like, I'm looking for, this person, whatever. So I ended up in this break. I got the letter H, and I got a nice Tom Hanks.
Oh, wow. Awesome. From Forrest Gump when he was doing the marathon running.
Yeah, this was incredible. It's one of my favorite ones. But no, they used to have them, and you can't find it.
This, Alex?
What's up?
When did they do this? I
think from 2018-ish.
Oh, not long ago. I wonder if you can still find some of these.
Actually, the box, this is really funny. The box that I have them in, were from, I think these were bigger ones, not even 8x10s, but this was from 2015 Pop Century.
Oh, that's what it's called. Pop
Yep.
Century 2000. What's that say? 15?
This was 15 signed photo edition.
Photograph edition. Look
Yep.
for these. Oh, Iggy Azalea,
There's
Daniel
Steven.
Radcliffe. Wow. Timberlake, Cruz, Michael
Steven.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Man,
You
Clint-
can't find these boxes anywhere anymore. Like I wish they would go back to that stuff. It's so I love them.
So where were you opening these things at the time?
All over. I mean, that was actually, there's an address on the front. This was when I was in Fort Drum.
Were you doing content around this as you were opening even back then?
I did, opening videos and everything else like that. So in the, let me see the years, middle teens to early 20s, I did a lot of box breaks online that I videoed. And actually, there's videos of me opening boxes in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
On deployment. They're on the YouTube. It's grainy as heck. You can't really see it. Everything else, I mean, it's bad video. It's like it was a webcam from an actual computer and everything else, and it was when you go back.
It probably looked like you were on Mars at the time.
But over the ones that a lot are on there, I pulled some of my biggest cards from when I was in Afghanistan.
Wow.
Sold. I mean, I
now, how did you get them to Afghanistan?
Blowout cards actually ships everywhere. So when you're in service and you're overseas on deployment or whatever, you get a APO box. So you get actual mailbox stuff, and it's just like
I've shipped stuff to APOs before.
Yep. So blowout, I'd order something online for blowout cards, and it'd be to me in Afghanistan in like 5 days. That's faster than it's faster than like West Coast pretty much. It's wild.
Man, I can't even get some stuff even in the same city of Los Angeles in 5 days.
It's crazy. So, on my free time, my downtime and everything else like that, I'd be in my little room and I'd be opening some stuff and everything. And I had my own little cabinet that had supplies and everything else and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And what's crazy is Bowman Draft Baseball just came out. It's coming out tomorrow. Back on my deployment in 2009, 2010, I opened up about 7 or 8 cases of 09 Bowman Draft, Mike Trout's year.
Wow. Yeah.
And I had about, I'd say, a dozen of his autos, including an orange auto, 1 of 25, which at that time I sold for $700.
Oh, no,
Raw.
don't tell me that.
Raw. Right now, that card goes for around $400,000 to $500,000. And at the peak during the pandemic, that card reached over $1 million.
Yeah, I heard. Oh my gosh. Well, no. And how do you feel about that?
It is what it is. It's a great story to have, and everything.
Exactly.
And at the time, that one card paid for the whole case and some. The one card, right? And I was completely fine with it. I mean, I pulled some big cards of it. Michael Jordan exquisite autos and everything else, and the little video I did at Fanatics Fest with Shine when he had his collection at Fanatics Fest, and one of his Jordan limited logos is the one I pulled, the exact card, number, everything, in Afghanistan. I sent him a video saying, "Hey, this was the video of me pulling it and showing you the card." So, he has all these older stuff in his collection that he doesn't know where they came from. I can give him a video, time, date, and stamp of when it was pulled with me. So I did a nice little video with him showing it off me, and, full force, heck, 12, 13 years later, holding the card after I pulled it.
Now, here's a question. When you get all these cards to Afghanistan, like, where do you put them? Were you that guy who had waxes all around his bed and everything?
No,
what happens?
I actually ordered a special container and actual shelving that I was able to lock and close and everything else. And I had, it got supplies and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, I I mailed everything back prior to, me coming back to my parents and everything. And they held on to it. But it was just big, storage container type of stuff that was inside my little living area.
Well, that's crazy. Now you said you do the CSA. You used to set up there, but now you are doing content exclusively for them now to help them out. Correct?
Yep.
Now I read today that Fanatics Fest is like back on pretty much in New York City, and it's on the same weekend of what's that, in end of June, the same time as CSA. Now I thought the last time we had done this show before the great curator left, our main topic that day was that Fanatics Fest had pretty much shut down, and now today it kind of threw me a curveball saying they're going to again have a show in New York City like last year. What's up with that?
From my understanding, they never really shut it down. They shut down the next Fanatics Collects show in Orlando originally.
Okay.
And
so that was a Collects. That was different than.
So there's a difference, Fanatics Fest. People, when you saw the difference between Fanatics Fest and Fanatics Collects, Fanatics Fest is a fan festival with all the activations and everything else that's there, with cards actually there. It's not supposed to be just a card show. Fanatics Collects with Fanatics Events was supposed to be just a card show with more signers there and stuff like that. All right. So the way I was told was the Fanatics Collect show was going to be more like the Burbank show and stuff like that and everything else, compared to Fanatics Fest, when that's more of you're interacting with all the different sports and everything else, agencies, and they're gonna have
yeah, you got all the celebrities and athletes there.
So they originally announced that they were gonna have a Fanatics Collects card show in Pittsburgh and in Orlando, and then they canceled both of those. They didn't even tell everyone that they canceled the Pittsburgh one. It just came and gone. No, and they didn't do anything for it. And then they originally announced that they were going to have an Anaheim Fanatics Fest on top of another Fanatics Fest in New York City. The New York City one was happening no matter what. They have a multi-year contract with the Javits Center that they're going to be there for multiple years. So that was going to eventually happen whenever they figured it out. But all these other ones, they were from Orlando with the, using air quotes, hurricane, and they, couldn't really get down up. Everyone's saying that's a cop out because Orlando was fine. I don't know what went down and stuff, but they then, of course, a lot of Fanatics employees got laid off and stuff. I think reshuffled and said, let's just focus on this one, get it really good again, because it was really good right after the National, but let's do it before the National. Let's, they were already looking to try to get it in June.
Yeah, because the last one, I guess, was in August, correct?
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks after the National. Mm-hmm. So now they're getting ahead of it. Of course, they want to stay farther away from, the big holiday in June and July, the 4th of July. So they found this weekend, and this is my thought process on it all, is when you have a center like that does so much with, New York Comic Cons and everything else and stuff like that, that place is probably booked all year long. So it's probably like if they want to do it in June, that was the date they were given. They couldn't decide, we want this date. Just so happens it's the same weekend as the CSA show in Chantilly, which is one of the longer running regional shows, bigger regional shows that the bloggers and everyone else goes to. People say it's one of the best shows in the country to go to. It's the same weekend. And there's a lot of people that set up at that show that set up at Fanatics Fest last year. Tyler Santiago already came out on Instagram saying it sucks because he can't be in both places at once, but New York City is closer to him, and he made a lot of money at Fanatics Fest, so he's going to go back there this year. Now, what CSA does from it, I don't know what they're going to do, because they have you can't sell off your table to anyone else while you're on. If you show, you got to be at every show because there's a huge waiting list.
You mean people who with CSA?
Yeah, there's huge wait lists at these shows, and you probably know, like even getting into Dallas and stuff. This wait list.
No, front rows that way now too. Like literally, the night of it closed, what was on Sunday, they said that Sunday night you can renew your tables, and they were letting anybody add more tables. So if I wanted to buy one for a friend or something like that, or I only had one table but now wanted two, I couldn't do it because they wanted to make sure everybody was accounted for.
Yep.
And fortunately for them, but unfortunately for me, I still had two tables, but I wanted to buy some for friends. All the dealers bought their tables back.
Yeah,
so they sold out like that night.
Yep, and
Crazy.
That's going to be the interesting part. If this type of stuff keeps happening, do these shows, give a little leeway? Say, okay, we understand like this is something that's not in the norm. We'll give you a free pass this time or whatever, or maybe you'll have to pay a little bit extra, to be able to keep your spot for the next show. Because CSA only has 3 shows a year. It has one in April.
Well, that's it.
Has one in April, has one in June, and has one in October. In a 6-month span, they have 3 shows, and the other 6 months they don't have nothing. But the June show, it covers all the sports because they're known for all their signers that are there for people to come, meet and greets and everything.
They have autograph people there too, doing autographs.
They have a lot of people that are there, and it covers pretty much all the sports except for baseball because baseball's in the middle of the season.
Right.
The big thing I think that might be hit from that is if some of these Fanatics signers, the bigger people and stuff like that, they're not going to come down to the CSA show and sign. They're going to be up in New York signing for Fanatics up there. So it would be very interesting. My thought process is if CSA can pivot to if the Dulles Expo Center is free the weekend before or the weekend after, if they can possibly move it a week, it's not so much just giving in to Fanatics Fest. It's best interest for them and, their vendors and everything else. Going to want more people. That's what I would say. If it's probably not possible, but if it is, to try to go that route.
I mean, maybe that should happen, but I don't think that'll happen because everybody's kind of like set on their calendar, or they have to because of availability.
Well,
like you said.
It's 7 months from now, so if there's anything, they got time to react to it, and possibly if they were able to do that. But but they also don't have to. They were there. They've had this set in stone, and they want to keep with the same aspect and stuff. So it'll be interesting. It's a rock and a hard place for me because I do the stuff with them, and then the FOMO.
Right, you had attended the Fanatics Fest New York in August, correct?
I did. It was, and I tell everybody, like, when you said it's a fan experience, it's 1,000,000% a fan experience. Like, you wouldn't have left the wrestling area. You would have.
I know, right? With all those big names. I mean, heck, there was every big star like Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley were there. Then like football, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady was even there, which I heard is a rarity.
When they first announced everything for Fanatics Fest, I knew the 2 sections that were going to be over the moon: the UFC area and the WWE. I said those will be the biggest areas, especially when I started seeing more and more stuff come out prior to it. They had free meet and greets with Alex Pereira, Holly Holm, and I think was it Dustin Poirier, someone else with UFC. Like, their top people, like literally their top. Like, Alex Pereira is literally one of the top fighters for them right now, and it was free signing and meet and greet pictures with him right there in the octagon.
Really?
Yeah, and it was so cool because I got some videos and pictures of the crowd around. UFC had one of the punching bag things, tells you, your number,
Yeah, how hard you hit.
You have one of the I think he's the light heavyweight champion doing that and seeing how hard he go with all these people around him and stuff. It's so cool. It's the experience of you do every day. Like, so many grown men are probably sitting there like, I do that in the bar all the time when I'm drunk and everything. If they have one, let's see if he can get the same amount that I hit. But they also I went back to WWE. I'm telling you right now, the amount of people that were around that stage or the walkout they had for the activation, and no one knew who these people were coming out. and they were all going wrong. Like Jimmy Uso's, I think he's the one that everyone starts going like this, right?
That's Jey Uso.
Jey Uso,
The
like
Yeet. Yeah.
time came out with his type of walkout, and the kid or the adult were doing it. The whole crowd around, everyone was getting into every single one, and it just was incredible to see the fans,
They like that interaction.
interacting, giving that fan experience of walking down that walkway to
Yeah,
that.
I saw it. It looked like people were like on Monday Night Raw, like doing the intro.
That was so cool to see. And then Fanatics would sneak in the WWE stars, and you could kind of see the crowd of people following and whatever. And then their entrance would come out, like Triple H's came out, and all of a sudden
They would surprisingly appear down the catwalk or whatever, the wrestling catwalk.
It will just explode because they would come out to their entrance in front of everybody, right?
Wow.
And it's just, like I got over there right when Triple H was doing his, and then he was over there. He wasn't saying anything. You can just see his mouth full. I'm like, he's about to spit fucking water up in the air. I know it.
Oh wow! Oh really? Oh my goodness!
He was doing fist pumps, and he just went right there at the end of
recreating his intro.
It was.
Oh wow!
It was
so. How was the card show itself? Because I know like there was a lot of friends of ours that set up there, and a lot of people were trying to get me to do it. And I think 3 or 4 tables you had to buy it as like a block, like a booth. It was like $3,000. So it sounded like it was almost $1,000 a table. So that's already a lot of overhead. And then getting to New York City, the travel, and then the overhead of your hotel room, whatever.
You're close to 5 figures.
So you're gonna have to sell some of those $5,000 RPAs that come even.
Every person I saw there and I talked to all said that they had a great experience selling.
Okay.
You talk to a lot of people that set up. There's not that many that did not have a good time, and there's a reason why. It's because I think you'll see at a lot of card shows, dollar boxes and stuff like that could be a dead card show because people aren't wanting to look into that stuff. I think this brought out the cream of the crops vendor stuff with them.
So everybody brought all their A game stuff.
Yeah, and it not saying it has to be like $300-$500 cards, but it's more of you're not seeing players that aren't not playing anymore, cards sitting on the tables and everything. It's all the current players or vintage stuff that's really good and everything. All the stuff that has the eye appeal and stuff is more out there, not as much junk stuff that's out there that the true collectors actually probably looking for that they were thinking they were going to look for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I did a thing like the WrestleCon, for instance, that was like the week of WrestleMania. Dan and I did that, and I thought people would be excited about the cards, but this place was packed as well in downtown Los Angeles, but people weren't there to buy. They even know what a card was. They were putting all their money into the celebrity autographs, because all the wrestlers you can think of in the world from all our generations were there in one place signing autographs. So people really didn't have money set aside for, other frivolous stuff like cards. And people didn't even know what they were, which shocked me.
Yep. And I think
you had experiences like that?
Yeah. One of the things that, the original concept of Fanatics Fest with having cards there at the show for the show is they wanted the individuals that are doing these activations, the wrestling fans, the UFC fans, the other fans that don't know about cards to walk the floor and see the cards.
Okay.
They get more, okay, I see that. Oh, I can see my wrestling, my guys that I collect, that I love to watch. They're on cards. I can collect them. But I think the aspect that happened at Fanatics Fest that most people didn't think it would happen is the card area was the closest activation to the card area was the wrestling. And you heard Cody Rhodes' intro a million times, because he just won the championship, everything else stuff, right? And so his stuff was coming on constantly, but the amount of fun that was having from that area and how loud it was and stuff like that or whatever. More the card people, I think, kind of were looking at the WWE area and like, if they used to watch WWE back in the day or, never got into it, they kind of got more than, so as much as they had, those fans coming over and seeing cards, the other aspect, the other side of it, of the card people getting introduced to the WWE and possibly understanding what was happening.
Oh wow, that's interesting. So would you do it? Would you do one yourself?
I probably wouldn't set up there. I don't think I have enough stuff to cover like the cost, right? Everything. I mean, I probably do. I wouldn't want to. I want to experience everything there more than set up behind the table for the whole weekend.
I hear you. You want to have that experience as well, right?
100%.
Now, Alex? What are you collecting these days? Like, what are you buying or trading for? Like, tell us like what are you up to? Like are you into like modern dead? Are you into vintage? Are you just buying pop culture? Like what? Tell me.
Like I said, I showed you like 8x10 stuff because eventually, I'm still renting out a place because of just the retiring and finding the new job and stuff before I find the house. Eventually, when I get my man cave, I'm going to have all the 8x10s on the walls, everything else.
Just like the great curator.
Yeah, so I'm going to have monsters. But I have so much other stuff that I dabble in. Of course, being a military guy, Army guy, my main collection is Pat Tillman.
Right.
And
from the Cardinals.
Now he doesn't have a lot of cards. He only has a few from the 2001 time frame, and then he has more modern stuff. It started out in like 2019, had a few cards and some sets for football, and then his downtown was in 2020, and then since then 21 he had a Prism card, and my main rainbow that I'm going for him is in 21 Prism. It's 46. 21 Prism football has 46 parallels. 46 different parallels, and I have 42 of the 46. Yes, it's one.
Pat?
Yeah, Pat Tillman.
What are you missing?
I am missing the 101 Black, which I know where it's at. It's in Grand Slams. Nate from Grand Slam, the guy that put out the bounty for the triple 101 auto from Team USA. It's in he has a huge Pat Tillman collection himself. He has, I think 24 101s.
So he's got diamond hands on it then.
They're nice, not going anywhere. So I know it's not. So I know that one. The neon green out of 5 from No Huddle, the gold shimmer out of 10, and the blue retail that is extremely short printed. I've only seen pop up on eBay once. Those are
How much was that one?
Huh?
How much was that one?
So the blue one, it doesn't actually go for more than a few $100s.
Okay.
And people tend to, if it pops up, they'll probably sell it for cheaper than they probably should because it doesn't pop up.
Right.
But people tend to, because of the person he is, the icon he was, and stuff like that, they tend to want you to pay arm and a leg for everything. So it's one of them. I gotta really work my way into those cards from my PC, even though I'm not reselling it. So
you have it on save search then. All these.
Except
you can't do the 101 since you know who owns it, and he's probably not going to let it go anywhere down the road.
No, but I do have a certified auto of him that I won on Golden.
Oh, you do?
Nice big 16x20. I got alerted by one of my friends, like, hey, did you know this is selling on Golden? It was in the middle of like the year 2 years ago. And it was in July, and I was like, why is this being sold right now? Put in a bid for $2,000, and I won it for $1,900. Now, his stuff, he doesn't have a lot of certified autos. He doesn't at all.
I can imagine.
And cards, he doesn't at all. He just has some cuts and like Flawless and some other sets and everything, National Treasures. But other than that, you're not seeing it. And if you sell his stuff around Veterans Day, Memorial Day type of time frame, you're getting 4 or 5x. You're
really?
Yeah. So someone sell in the middle of the year. I never thought I'd win it. Next thing you know, it's like, you won the golden auction. You got 7 days to pay. And I was just like, woohoo! Hey, let me move some money around.
Finally, you're probably always getting sniped, aren't you?
All the time. All the time.
Oh, that's the worst. Even when it's like very little, you're just like, oh, I thought I had it, and someone comes out of nowhere.
No, and the key to that is pay more so you don't get sniped.
I know it happens so many times to me.
Pay more than you want to if you really want the card. Remember, always number one rule: buy stuff you buy nice cards and the stuff that you like. Who cares what everyone else tells you to buy? But if you really want it, you really want to have it for your collection, pay more for it because you might not see it again.
So your collections and what you not only collect but what you sell or trade is always changing, evolving, and other things. Correct? So you started off with like sports cards, and you've done some pop culture. Are you still doing breaks as well, or is that done for?
As in, like doing breaks, like breaking? Oh,
like you did like 20 years ago.
So with the LCS here in Richmond, Graybo Sports Cards, I ended up coming out of retirement when they got on Fanatics Live, and
really.
And I started breaking for them. I've been breaking for them ever since. I only do it every other week on Mondays and Fridays.
Okay.
I am going in tomorrow morning for their Bowman Draft Marathon. I'm actually taking time off from work to go in the morning to break a case of Bowman Draft for them, and then go to work.
Now, are these like streamed on YouTube or where?
No, it's on Fanatics Live.
They're all Fanatics Live has its own like channel, like they're on their site.
Yep, Fanatics Live has their own platform and everything for breaking and stuff, just like Whatnot and everywhere else. So
okay, but do you is that its own app, or do you go like Fanatic Collect or where?
Its own app. It's its own app.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do it on there, and then I jump around, and I like to spread the love. I know so many individuals that are breaking either on Instagram, personally, YouTube, or Fanatics Live or Whatnot. I jump around just finding the best deals and stuff. And lately I've been getting, it's really funny. Lately I've been getting into more non-sports stuff than I have sports stuff, like Star Wars. I went ham with Star Wars Galaxy.
So you opened up the new 24 Galaxy?
Yeah, and actually, we talked about before, I have some to show off right here.
Yeah, let's see some, because I haven't even seen it yet. I've been so busy.
Oh my gosh, it's the art.
What do you think about it?
The art for this year is just incredible. I brought out some of the cooler ones, I think. Like one of my favorite characters from Star Wars has always been Han Solo.
Okay.
Just the way that like his portrait is.
Is that a sketch?
No, this isn't a sketch. This is just one of the cards. This is a.
Oh, it looks like it. Wow, it's nice. It's like they did full bleed this time again.
Yep, out of 190.
No borders.
But then you got stuff like this. This card is called Friends Forever. It's actually numbered out of 175.
Well, that's pretty cool.
You got 3 of the iconic characters there.
Yeah, I'm glad they did full bleed again.
Yeah. Then you got like Kylo Ren, like
that's awesome.
Images that they used, like this one right here, right, is just an awesome looking image. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't get a glare.
I know, I see it really well.
Yeah, and then you got ones like this.
Wow, those are some great artwork on those cards.
This one right here. Actually, I'm gonna show this one first. This one I love. Ewok No Evil, man. This is, you being a music guy, you'd understand it.
Oh gosh.
This one's so cool. See no here, no.
Do they show the artist on the back, or they still don't have the artist names?
They do. So like it's down.
Oh, they put them back too. Oh wow.
Very bottom. It'll tell you
who's doing the Ewok one. Can you tell me?
It was Craig Skaggs. That's who it is.
Skaggs, okay.
This card right here is called Stormtroopers. It is my favorite card from this set, just because it literally every icon from the series. You got Chewbacca in there, you got Vader, Princess Leia. They're all hidden in between.
I know, right? There's so many of them, of the Stormtrooper heads, and then yes, you see the regular people. You see
It's
Han Solo, Leia, Luke,
yeah.
Chewbacca, Darth Vader in the middle.
This
That's
card
pretty cool.
this card looks so cool. I mean, even Yoda's down here in the bottom. Like this
You've got to
card just
look for the super fractor now of that one.
This was one of the most sought after cards because everyone loves the way it looks. The super of this card was probably stupid expensive.
Or imagine like owning the original artwork to that.
Oh my god, that'd be cool. They do have case hits. They did a lot of they did helmets from
That's
some
a
of
case
the.
hit.
Yeah, it's one of the cases. I think it might be more than like one per few
That's
cases.
the
Commander Cody.
AT-AT drivers, right?
Yeah, the Commander Cody.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. They had a whole bunch of different ones. The Vader one, so they have different colored parallels. There's a black parallel to 10. The Vader black parallel, this just looks incredible. Like it just looks sweet. And I just so happened to hit one sketch card. I got a sketch card of Finn.
Finn, right, from Force Awakens.
Yep. So I don't know who the artist is. It doesn't say.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Don't you?
It's
the worst in scripture ever. You're like, what is that chicken scratch?
I'm
like who's supposed to know what that is?
Yeah. So what I think I can kind of probably go through, look online to see other ones that just turn to sketch cards, and I can probably kind of see the same type of drawing and color schemes that they use, and I'd probably be able to find it. But yeah,
have you opened?
I got into a lot of breaks, and I opened a few boxes of it.
Oh wow!
People were doing breaks of it, group breaks of it, so you can buy in like a full case, like just card number 64. So this is card number 64 of the set. So you would buy just this card. So any of this card and parallels you would get from the whole case. So you can
they would open an entire case,
yep.
And you already have the rights to that card number if that's the one you bought, correct?
Yep.
Now, how do they do this? Do you go on eBay and buy the thing, or do you go to the direct site?
A lot of mine on Fanatics Live.
Okay.
Yep. But
so I go to just download the Fanatics Live app, and I can get onto anything like this, like you just told me.
And I got into some Disney Chrome breaks recently, and
you did. Oh, you got some Disney. Did you pull some cool stuff out of it?
Yeah, they actually. I got it over there. I'll leave it. But there's some really really cool ones. I tell everyone. There's a reason why I did the same thing. Like I got a couple different characters and bought them because some of the bigger ones are super expensive, but I just wanted a few other things. I got like Piglet and everything else and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And actually let me go.
Piglet. Oh my gosh, I would love Piglet.
Yeah, hold on, I'll show you.
Okay. Can't wait to see it, guys. If anybody has any questions for Alex, please leave them in the chat. Okay, everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell button. We're a dual simulcast on The Great Curator and Merlin Collects. So if you're watching this from my channel, please subscribe to me, guys. And check out Army ATC22 on Instagram. And I know he's on TikTok and everything else on YouTube. Yep. So subscribe to him as well. So what you got for us, Alex?
So I actually got a few different ones, like these cards. Here's one of Tigger.
Oh, that's so cool.
One of my favorite characters of all time.
Now, this is the one that's only like distributed in UK?
No, this just came out.
This is now a US release?
Yep. Topps Chrome.
Oh, wow.
Of Disney.
But so this has to be on fire right now.
Oh, it's expensive. It is.
And it's a box.
Yep. I can't remember. But they also came out with a sapphire version too. And
what?
Yeah,
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. So I got it.
Have you bought any?
Huh?
Have you bought any yet?
Oh, no. I that's why that's the power of a group break. Getting into these expensive things for a fraction of the price, right? And still being asked, getting
so like okay, so if you get into a break, say for like Disney. What are you like buying at the time? Are you buying like just for Tigger? For Piglet?
I'll look around to see what is you have two different ways. You can either get your best bang for your buck, or you're either going for quality over quantity, or you're going for quantity over quality. right? When I get into group breaks and doing and stuff online, like, do I want to spend, $400 on the best team in a break, or do I want to spend $30 for a team that has more possible hits, but they're just not better guys, right?
Right.
And if I want to go the other route, I can get more cards off of the lower amount and eventually make more money off that if I'm getting into resale and stuff. For like the Disney ones, like Mickey Mouse was like $400 for a case.
Oh, okay. So there's like different tiers. So of course
Yes.
the bigger names like Mickey's going to cost you more than
Yeah.
say like
that autographs
supporting character.
And everything. But so I'd look into it and I'm like, okay, these characters still well known. Piglet is still a well-known character. And I got him for a full case for like, I think like $19 or whatever. And
versus Mickey's 400.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting, 3 parallel. Well, I got a whole bunch of base, whatever, but I got a refractor.
So when they sell the spots, that's how they do it. They do it by the Disney character, correct?
Like his Disney character, some people will do him by the whole movies, and stuff like that, not just the character. So it'd be like Winnie the Pooh, the whole Winnie the Pooh line would be you and everything.
Okay, gotcha.
But
so yeah, or if you had like Toy Story,
yeah,
I'm sure Toy Story would be expensive.
Oh, stupid expensive. But like here's like a purple out of 199, and then this one's pretty cool out of 75. Little blue wave-ish type of one. You can't really see it, but.
And then when you did the Star Wars one, how'd that go? Because they're kind of more of the artwork than anything.
It's same concept. You're pretty much buying the the one card number, and you would get all those, and I'd get stacks. I was going through.
They would do it by the number to represent that piece of artwork.
Yep. Gotcha. So I go through and I spend like $50 on like 4 or 5 different cards. Because all of them have supers, all of them have low numbered stuff and everything. And if you just get one low numbered of one card, doesn't even have to be whatever, you can probably get your money back.
Then who wins the insert cards or the sketch cards?
A lot of times it depends. Either if it's geared towards that one player, person, or character or whatever, it'll still go to them. Or the breakers will have a certain spot they can sell just for sketch cards. They'll sell it separately.
Oh wow! See, like last night, I need to get some of that because last night I finally this weekend found a box of WWE Select, the new one. So I opened it up last night when I was watching Raw, and I pulled a Tiffany Stratton autograph out of the pack. And she's winning the Money in the Bank, which she's still holding on to. Then I pulled. I've never pulled one of the animal prints. I pulled a zebra, Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
Yeah, so I did pretty
good. Select is pretty good. I actually opened up a box of it myself.
You did. So you got yours is all over the place, man.
Oh yeah. Did
you pull something good?
I hit an Undertaker Redemption auto.
Oh wow, good job. Now the ones to get out there because the rookies are really good. There's Stephanie Vacour, Julia, both who I love, and then of course Jacob Fatu, and I think another female wrestler, Ren Sinclair.
Yeah, it seemed
the chase.
When I was talking to someone about it when we were opening it, there was a lot of NXT individuals that are in the set.
Yeah, they're on fire right now.
So
definitely. Now, did you even watch Survivor Series? Do you watch these things or not?
So I when I have the time frame, I do. I mean, I grew up watching a little bit. I wasn't a diehard person, but my son got into it when he was real younger, so I was watching more with him. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is a huge wrestling fan. I still have videos that I got to post from our trip at the beach. I opened up a box of Prism WWE with him at the beach this year, and he's the video's like 40 minutes long because he's talking about every single player. So I got some good clips out of it that I need to post still. I didn't watch Survivor Series, the War Games, but I did I saw highlights and stuff and everything that came out of it. Like Rhea Ripley getting the title back, right? And
she's won the
she won
War Games. They won the War Games.
She
chase the title.
Now she won War Games. Does that give her the opportunity to go for the title?
I'm sure it'll get closer. to the fighting. I don't know what else will entail quite yet. They haven't really worked on the storyline. I think Liv is still taunting her with the title. I think they're going to probably work this long storyline until WrestleMania. So she finally wins there and has the crowd there and everything, because I think she'll have to try to win at Royal Rumble in order to have that title shot.
Really?
I heard it's going to be a long storyline. And then maybe Charlotte's going to pop in too. So I don't know who she's going to go after. Who knows when Tiffany is going to cash in her Money in the Bank. There's all kinds of, variables going on.
Has there ever been a storyline where, someone's holding that title for so long and the Royal Rumble gives you the opportunity?
Like Roman Reigns, of course.
And, the Royal Rumble gives you the opportunity. Has anyone ever lost the title, gone into the Royal Rumble, won it to go back and win the title back before? That would be that would be a cool storyline. So say right before
people have. I think like Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels has.
Yeah, right before the Royal Rumble, they lose the title, and then next thing you know, in the Royal Rumble, they win it and go back. Now they get the chance to go fight back for the title again and then win it back.
I'm sure it's happened. It's almost like I spent like 20 years, having fun in LA and chasing women. So I didn't watch wrestling for almost 20 years.
But
DJing.
Yeah, I know the OG storyline and everything happened. It's all the wrestlers. CM Punk coming back and everything.
Right, and see, when I got back into wrestling in 2016, I didn't even know who CM Punk was. I quit watching it from like 2000 when WCW got taken over by WWF at the time. I just kind of gave up, and I just moved to LA, and I just had other things to deal with. And then I was working in the Caribbean on an island with a bunch of other editors, and they were like, they knew that I had watched wrestling a lot, and they were all big wrestling fans. So someone had a Roku, because that's basically only way we could watch TV was through a Roku. And they made me watch the WWE channel, whatever the app, and we were watching wrestling and all the archives, and I watched CM Punk and Cena and AJ Styles and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And they're like, yeah, Merlin, wait till we get back to LA. We're going to take you to some indie wrestling stuff. It's called PWG. I'm like, what does that stand for? And they're like, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And I was like, man, this sounds fun. They took me to some Legion Hall out in the Valley of Reseda, and it was packed like sardines in there. Like and the thing was, I was so excited because we were front row. We had the front row seats. Little did I know that my knee was going to be touching the ring.
Oh, that's that.
And this stuff was like punk rock wrestling. So literally where I was seated, plus the only seat I was put at was where the money shots were, where the camera's facing the ring. This is where they were coming off the turnbuckle. Underneath the turnbuckles were all the light bulbs, the thumbtacks, the tables, the chairs, the kendo sticks, whatever. And that's where my chair was. And I actually have the DVD. I need to pull it out and rip some footage off of it and show you, man. Like my eyes are like this big. I am about to shit my pants. I am so scared. Like, how do I get out of the way? I felt like I was going to die. There was nowhere to retreat. Yeah. I was so scared. I was like, you know what? I love this. This is punk rock wrestling, but I don't need to be in the mosh pit next time. Maybe 20 rows back, because literally 20 rows back at this place was like row 5 in a real like arena, like if I was at Crypto or Intuit Dome. But I loved it. And I looked back to see who all the wrestlers were at the time. And all those wrestlers on that lineup are huge now. They're all like half of them in WWE wrestling, half of them in AEW wrestling. And they're all like big stars. And so I got to see these people in this little small area. Dave Meltzer from Pro Wrestling Illustrated was there. And I'm like, man, I started buying all the cards. And now all those cards are really big. Like Walter, who is now Gunther, it was in those packs. I could buy those for like $20. And now those sets go for like $500 to $1,000 now. And it's like, oh my gosh, I started pulling them out. I still had them in containers before I even got into the wrestling cards. And I'm like, whoa, here is MJF. in one of them. He's like several hundred. Jacob Fatu, from 2019's in them. So you could find all these great wrestlers who were on first rookie cards from like Chrome or Prism or whatever, but you could find them from 6-8 years ago in these indie sets. And now PSA and all the other grading companies grade them. I don't know if you've had the same experience with like indie cards too. I don't know if you got to any of those yourself.
No, I haven't had any of those experiences. But just like the same story you have, that so many people have too. Getting into. It's really crazy. Is so many people don't know. All these wrestlers have had different names over the years.
Exactly.
Different companies that they're in. I think the one that's funniest is like the Big Show. Like his name's completely different. Whatever group he's in with now, like I forget what his name is.
He's probably just by his real name, Paul White.
It might be. I can't remember. I don't know or not.
Because I think he's still like licensed with AEW now. He's like a legend guest.
And it's so funny as seeing them and be like, hold on, that's not who that is. And be like, well, it's someone else.
I know. So like Daniel Bryan, who was in the WWE, now he's Bryan Danielson in AEW because that's his real name. You're like, oh, I'm so confused. What's his first name? Because he's got two of the same name. So I also noticed, like at the beginning of the year, me and Dan, between two slabs, was doing a scavenger hunt in Atlanta at the Culture Collision. And that's when I really like paid attention to what you were doing, because not only did I see you around doing content, you would like grab me include me into some stuff like, hey Merlin, get in here, like say something, or tell me, give me scenario, do this. But we were out there in the lobby or whatever that level was, mezzanine area, and Dan was hiding the piggy bank card, that because we were giving away piggy banks cards while we were in Dallas and also Culture Collision. You were, I think, with one of your buddies, and then we had Zach, who is Collector Creative. He used to be with Market Movers, and y'all were like jumping into the bushes. These big guys were like twice my size, like just diving into the bushes from an escalator. And I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna break their freaking necks. Like, are you still into like piggy banks? Like, how did you know about piggy banks then?
Through majority of other, the power of social media, one person get another thing and stuff like that. I've always wanted to own a piggy banks. And actually, pause real quick. I'll come back to that story. I want to show you.
Okay. Go ahead. Thank you, Carlos. Is that Ed? Is that Ed in there? MRLTD? Sounds like Ed.
So
there he comes. Look at that Christmas tree. Beautiful Christmas tree.
Thank you. So I always
setting up ours up tonight.
I always wanted to own a piggy banks. But
right.
as they go, and then the resale market's, stupid crazy and everything else for it and everything. And so when I saw Dan put that together and everything, I was like, how many people are actually going to do this? Like, So I was
right. You actually, you had to like go around and do all the different tasks first.
And I'm like, I love those I love scavenger hunts and stuff like that. So I did it. And Dan told me it's like only you and one other person, technically going for it or whatever. So it was really funny. Was we followed him, and me and Ryan, I saw Sasquatch. He was one. We knew where Dan was. He said he posted on his story on Instagram that he was up in his room. He's getting ready to go drop it or whatever. And we knew where he would probably come down out of the room in the lobby. So it was just we were just down there waiting. And so he came down, followed him, and followed him up. He dropped it off, and then me and Zach jumped in the bushes looking for it and everything. And Zach ended up getting it. Kudos to Zach, which is really crazy because me and him became really good friends.
Okay.
Everything since then and stuff like that or whatever. But Piggy Banks himself reached out to me saying, hey, the effort and stuff. He's like, I want to send you a consolation prize. So he eventually got back with me and said, "Here, pick one of these few that I have leftovers of, and I'll send it your way." And so I got a nice little piggy banks
Nice red box.
box, and
What's in there?
I picked out the Gundam Mickey.
Whoa! So you
Yeah.
like Disney a lot?
I do. It's one of those, this Mickey Mouse and Gundam is, Mickey is an iconic figure, right, and everything else like that. The other ones, I can't remember what the other ones were that were
Your options?
the options or whatever, but this one stuck out the most to me and everything. And then realistically looking back at it, because it was it was MLK, I think, like type of Atlanta featured thing. I think I truthfully like this more than I would have liked that one.
Was it Martin Luther King? Was it Jordan? Well, it was Martin Luther King.
It was Martin Luther King, if I remember correctly.
Right, because it was around that weekend too.
Yep.
So we were there.
I think I really enjoyed this one more than that, and Zach got it, so hey, good for him, whatever. But collector's creative and everything else. Zach, doing his own stuff.
Yes, he has now. This has inspired him.
I just recently got in from him a little Darth.
I got one of those too. Yep, Darth Maul.
I love this one. This one's so cool. Darth Maul is one of my favorite villains. But I've talked to him a few times and stuff like that since, and we've chatted up every once in a while and stuff. So
I know. Weren't you interviewed on his show as well just recently?
I wasn't, but I am going to be in the future. So
okay,
yeah.
I was like, oh, he had Luke the card artist on there, and I was like, oh my god, they look like brothers.
They do. But
now, have you gotten into, because over here on the West Coast, I don't know on the East Coast, but man, the art card scene is on fire right now. What's it like on the East Coast?
So from the East Coast side, it's more through social media, being able to get the Saturday morning cards type of stuff, right?
You have everything, yeah, because you did some box openings with us at the National.
Yep.
You and Mac did.
Yep. And I think it was the Winnie the Poohs.
Yes.
And everything. And at Burbank, I got little baby faced assassin, with
nice.
With canvas.
Was that a tag exclusive or what?
Well, so this one was the VIP one that when I got to help them out some whatever, they let me get one or whatever. But with Canvas Marketing, he does his own with Steph Curry because he's Steph Curry's cousin.
Right, yeah. I see him in the LA area all the time.
Yeah. So I actually have a few of his other ones that he has.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Steph Curry. And this is really funny. I got all three of these at the Burbank show, and they're all the number to 30, which is Steph Curry's jersey number. They're all numbered.
Right.
I forget what the parallel it is, purple something. But I got three of them, all three of them that were there.
Okay.
Ended up getting them through some stuff, whatever, trading and everything else. But they're all numbered out of 30. So it's pretty sweet. This is the night version.
Wow, okay. Yeah, so, he's doing the talking about CM Punk.
It's really funny. The card art scene and stuff coming to fruition. A lot of people don't know this. I have a few other ones from a guy who did Hits Memorabilia. His name was Gary. These were a lot of YouTubers. He would send out stickers and ask for mem stuff sent back, and he created a whole set that he would send out to YouTubers and stuff like that. And you can tell the quality's not as good. Right, but there's me at the top and another one, Weaver. He's passed away, rest in peace. Weaver 505. But he did cool stuff they're called tube traders. There was me with one. This was a
Big Fish.
Yeah, Big Fish. Jason, one of my really good friends from the hobby.
Oh my gosh, when were those made?
These were made in 2012. 2000.
Oh, wow. 12,
right.
12, so 13 years ago. Wow.
We would send in a jersey we had or something else like that or whatever, and he would put these together and we send them out to people. This one's actually a 101. It would be in
Have you sold any of those?
these would be in a box actually, like you're opening a pack of cards, and you would have like the first card would be this, and the next card like here's a sectograph, right? There's me right there, of course.
Yeah, that was just like the leaf cards when they do the multiples.
Little 8-way. These are all,
and then there's a tiger at the end.
So that was Bengal Cats. I forget his name. These are all YouTubers. These are all YouTubers in the collecting community.
Really?
Yep. And here's another one, an octograph from Tube Traders. I got a lot of the ones that I'm on.
That's insane.
Some really good guys in the community. I don't know. You know Pete Az, right? Do you know Pete Az?
I don't think so.
Paul Smith.
Ring a bell.
But this is probably the coolest one. I was able to acquire my main 101 from one of these sets in Tube Trader Series 2. So like a little foundry RPA type of thing. These are actually pieces from the flag and from my uniform that I used at war on a deployment.
Well, look at that, man. That's pretty. I'm glad you showed us this. This is definitely something new to learn about you.
This is stuff that a lot of people have never seen before. And a lot of us that have been in the YouTube community for a long time, have these stashed away.
Now, who made these? Who decided, like, let's do these?
So his name's Gary King. He had an actual company called Hit Memorabilia. And he had boxes that actually sold that would have game used jerseys and stuff. He'd just buy like any others. He'd go on Golden or wherever, eBay, and buy authenticated jerseys and cut them up just like all the companies and make them into his own cards. And he sold them by boxes and everything. And then he eventually did, he did all those after he did the Tube Traders as like the mock-ups, trying to figure out his best way to do it. And then eventually went into the other realms of the actual players that actually play the game.
Oh, wow. That is interesting. Now, is that your only piggy banks?
That is my only one. Yes. That is.
Because I didn't know if you collected other art cards as well. There's so many people now coming out, stuff like Blue Trap and Hitman, and like you showed that guy. And then, but there's so many people. I don't know if you see like this craze at the shows on the East Coast. Do you?
No, we don't. I know when I was talking to you at the Burbank show, right?
Oh, yeah.
You showed me all the other ones and stuff that you had, and everything, and it was like it's not as big of a. You'll see a few tables that probably have a few of them in there, but other than that, if they have one that's probably not out in their thing. And I don't know, from going to other shows, I've seen that like. If someone has a piggy banks, they're going to have multiples for sale, not just one.
Right.
Probably have multiple ones there. And I don't know if it's the fact that, everyone has that stigma that he doesn't like people reselling his stuff.
Well, especially on like eBay, definitely.
And it's the wrong thing, because when I talk to him about it, it's not so much reselling, it's the flipping right away.
That's exactly right. Yeah, right? It's just grabbing it to sell it the next day.
Correct. Now, if you sell it months down the road and stuff, that's just like any other, investment piece and stuff like that, art piece, whatever. Yeah. But it's more of if you buy it real fast within the weekend, it's up
with the incentive of just selling it as soon as it's in your hands.
That's where he's came out and blasted people for it and everything else. But if down the road, like, no, put them up because it's under.
You're like, don't let the body still warm kind of thing.
Yeah, enjoy it. That's why it's an art piece, for you to enjoy it somewhat.
Or go trade or do something.
But like this type of stuff, like I would never sell. If I get into these art pieces and the creative pieces and stuff, like if I'm going to sell, I'm going to buy multiples to sell one and still have one. But like this piggy banks, because in fact he reached out to me directly. And everything else, like sentimental value, I can never sell this card.
Yeah, and he's like a couple. Back then, it was still a couple $100s, and went to $400, and now it's at $750.
That's wild.
So other people are going to other art card alternatives that are like cheaper, because those people who were trying to flip a piggy banks, of course, for $750 and probably try to sell it for $1,000 back when it was $200 to $400, and now going to other people at $250 so they can do a quick flip, like you said.
Yeah.
But that also makes all the other card artists angry too, because they feel like they're getting used.
Yeah,
they're making tons of money, aren't they?
What's
your opinion about it?
About what?
All the art card artists.
That's their passion. I love the fact of, people doing what they love, and it's more of, you can tell the difference between someone just doing it to make a dollar and someone that's doing it as a passion, right? And everything. Look at their background and be like, hey, you can tell they have another job somewhere and stuff. This is probably not so much the passion. The people that put all their time, they're going places, setting up, everything else. Like I want to use an example, Jordan Spector, his stuff that he's out with right now. I'm actually going to be helping him out in Philly next week. He's doing his launch of the Allen Iverson card that he's doing. Okay. And I've seen him everywhere. He's set up at shows, he's set up at stadiums and everything else. He's going to these things left and right. Like, he has taken his passion and invested so much into it. Piggy Banks does it. These art cards, you can tell. I mean, a lot of these ones, they're printed, right? And it's how they get to that point of drawing it the way it is and stuff like that or whatever. It's wild. Like, so the stuff that these people do, any person can probably do, right? Just don't sit down and do it. And these ones are the ones that are like, okay, I'm going to put this together. There's so many different programs out there these days. You could do it yourself, but you're not. Instead, you're allowing these artists and other individuals to do it, and you're paying big money for it.
Oh, they are. And then I just see, like, a lot of people, I feel like that's all they're buying them like every day, because these things drop like every day, and they're all over the place just buying art cards like crazy.
I would
oh boy.
I would say I don't like, the ones that have drops, a few times a month. They're constantly just bam, bam, back to back to back. It's the same as the card companies. The card companies are putting out new sets every other week, right? And everything. So, why can't the card artists do it too? But do you want your cards to be more scarce and not as much out there, as in, okay, there's only 13 copies of this, or do you want only like 12 total releases for the year, or do you want 50 total releases for the year? Now, now you have, 500 total cards in population compared to only 200 total cards in population. And you would think that would draw the value of these up more if there's scarcity across all of them, not just the one set.
Right. And there's so many people like doing it and everything. I'm worried, like, is this just a phase in your opinion? Because you've been in the hobby for such a long time. What do you think will happen?
The end goal, it depends on the end goal of the individuals. Like, are they looking for, like, Dan's not here, so he can't really say it. Like, are you using this concept that he has with this to get a big company to buy him out, right?
I'm sure that's what everybody wants, right?
So is the end goal of you taking these type of designs for you to get picked up by someone to say, okay, we want you to come on and, do this stuff with us, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It seems like a lot of different things, passion projects and stuff like that, they eventually go away, or they don't really go away. It's like they get other that avenue where they're being worked on, whatever. Like, I love these so much. I've always told them I love them, is because I love the way the downtowns look in like football, basketball and stuff. And I feel like this is what the set it resembles, is like a downtown,
right?
From a sports product.
It's nice and shiny, which people like.
People like the shiny stuff, right? And if you can get a numbered one, like I got a numbered Steamboat.
Oh boy, good job.
You get lucky with that. So,
like now I've bought a few, because he's out here too, like the Glue Trap. Have you heard of him?
No, you told me.
This is some of his like work now too. Like, he's kind of like tier 2, but I think a lot of people are going down to him too because he's like $250 versus like $750. But again, people are like, and he does a little more risky stuff as you see here. But he does like the Pokemon one here too.
Oh, nice.
So these seem to sell pretty well. Like I do pretty well reselling these at the Collecticon type shows or the collectibles. But then you see like Tag. Have you seen the Tag stuff? Like they're doing these. They did the Halloween World Series, so they had like all the players from the Dodgers and the Yankees as like Halloween characters. Mm-hmm. So the only one I was able to pick up was the Mookie Betts, Mucula. I don't even know how to say it. Instead of Dracula. Did you get any of these, Alex?
Oh, I didn't get any of those.
I know they did the Tyson Paul one too.
Yeah.
And I bought a Tyson, but I just wondered what the word of mouth is on the East Coast.
No, I mean it's really, and I discussed this in one of my videos. The difference between East Coast and West Coast is really there's more of the modern stuff and more modern with card art stuff on top of that. West Coast, East Coast, a lot of vintage. There's a lot of vintage on the East Coast. I don't know how many shows you've really been to on the East Coast, but like you'll go to some of these bigger East Coast shows and 40% of the show is vintage.
Yeah.
Where you go to, when I went to the Burbank show, I think out of all those hundreds of tables that were there, I think I counted on one hand how many tables had vintage.
There wasn't many?
No, not at all.
It's mostly modern?
Yes, and it made me think about it, and it makes sense. All those vintage teams from baseball and football and basketball and stuff, mainly baseball, those vintage teams were all on the East Coast. They weren't West Coast teams. The Dodgers were in Brooklyn. They weren't in LA, right? All those
vintage years, yes.
All those teams in those years were in the East Coast. So it makes kind of sense that a lot of vintage collectors passed down from the years. Not saying there's not vintage collectors in the West Coast because they're everywhere.
Even the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants, it's more prominent in the East Coast.
That's very interesting. And then what do you think about, like, were you always into pop culture too? And what do you think about how pop culture is really like taken off in the last few years?
Pop culture to me is one of those things that if you want to collect it, you want to enjoy it, it's because you enjoy it, right? To me, pop culture shouldn't be bought if you're in our type of realm to resell. That's how I feel. I'm buying something in pop culture because I want it. I don't want to get it to resell it. And but it's growing big, with AMG, with the different
grading, right?
The grading that they are of every little thing that you can grade these days. I'm more of a type of person that likes, bigger pieces to hang up on the walls and stuff like that, and easier to display than, one small little card, on a shelf and stuff type of aspect. I have a lot of full-size signed helmets and stuff like that are
wow.
Yeah. I have signed baseballs and everything else. I have a lot of that other stuff that's, that easier. You resonate as a sports fan looking at it more than just the card aspect, right? But I do have in my collection multiple cards that are like iconic cards, like Ken Griffey Jr., like a PSA 9, I think, of his rookie from Upper Deck, and a couple Ripken rookies, and I have some Tiger Woods rookies. I have a whole bunch of different ones that are the iconic ones. Dan Marino. Dan Marino is my favorite, player of all time. I got a couple.
Mine too. I couldn't even talk during a Dolphins game, man. In those days, I was so sad when he retired, and he never got to win a Super Bowl. I was just
and
it ate me up, man.
I had the privilege of, I got to interview him at the National this year.
Yeah, I saw you do some posts with him.
Yeah, I got to interview at the National this year, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. And then at the last CSA show, I interviewed Larry Zonka.
Now, did you grow up in Richmond as well?
No, I was born actually in Florida. My mom
remarried. Oh, you were?
Yeah, my mom.
Okay.
my mom remarried, and we moved up to Maryland, where my dad is from, and I lived there my whole life. And then the Army had me go around the world and back again, and I eventually retired here and stayed here and got the job.
Because you said you're also a Zonka fan, and so were you always a Miami Dolphin fan?
So my first ever professional sporting event I went to was a Dolphins game when I was.
Oh, me too, man.
When I was 5.
Yeah. Oh, me too, dude. Me too, man. This was back during, like, how much older are you? Like, I actually did see Bob Greasy and Larry Zonka play back in the day.
1986 was when I went to the game.
Oh, this is like 74, 75.
I
think it was right after, like, they were a undefeated season. See, all my dad's side is from the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, or Hollywood area.
Yep. So went to that first game, and then from there, I've just been a Dolphins fan since.
Oh, me too.
And like at the last CSA show, I had the privilege. I got to sit down on the couch with Larry Zonka, and we actually on film was only about 6-7 minutes of interview, but there was actually about an hour of just us bull crapping. Like, it wasn't on film.
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's like the experiences that I've had due to the media aspect of helping out and doing that stuff has just been incredible. And I've been very privileged with that and stuff, and very fortunate to have those experiences. And
that's the most important part, man.
And when I first started doing it, when I evolved to that aspect, my realm is like, I went to CSA, I went to the PR person, and I was just like, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to interview people that have any military ties. It could be.
And then what did you approach them with?
I approached the CSA show around a year ago.
So you were like, so you approached them, and your goal was to what?
My goal was I wanted to interview athletes or other individuals from the show or whatever that dealt with something with the military. With my background being with the Army, retired, like an athlete that had a mother, a father, brother, sister, kids that all served, or that maybe they worked with the USAA or the USO and stuff like that, and just talk to them about those things, not so much anything dealing with their sports stuff. And they loved it. They loved, the passion I have and stuff. So whenever, the shows be like, okay, we want you to come up and do some media stuff, or send me the list of the athletes going to be there, and I'll do my deep dive. Thank you for AI and Chat GPT, because all I have to do is say Allen Iverson, military ties, everything that he's done with the USO, stuff like that.
Really?
Oh, it's incredible. I love it.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So it makes the researching so much easier. But I'll research every single athlete to see which one of them, and a lot of them have a brother that's in the Army, or their dad served in the Army or something like that, or the Marines and everything. And so Larry Zonka, his family's all military. His father was, brothers and sisters, he has everything. And he almost got drafted himself. In the interview that I had with him, he talks about it, how his coach coded him at Syracuse to not be part of the draft for the war. And so he didn't get, his coach wasn't supposed to do that. They were supposed to actually code him off of the way they were then, but the coach saw the potential and coded him higher, so he never got drafted. And it was funny. He's like, it kind of worked out for me in a perfect way. And I'm like, yeah, I think so.
That's awesome. So what is your then goal for the coming years, for next year, everything? What's your plans?
Myself and Ryan, I saw Sasquatch. We do our live.
He's out of Knoxville, right?
Yeah, he's in Knoxville. We do our live on Instagram every Thursday, the Hobby Happy Hour, right? Thursday.
Hobby Happy Hour on Thursday.
Yeah, but because of our scheduling and everything else, and him starting his new job and stuff, we haven't been able to. We haven't been able to do it for a while. We were able to a few weeks ago,
right?
But we for the last year we've been working on making it an actual podcast and everything, going the whole realm of doing a podcast rather than a live and everything else, and releasing it out in the world and everything for people to listen to instead. As a hobby aspect, like will always be a hobby for me. It's always fun for me. And when it doesn't become fun anymore, I'm not going to do it. This isn't a full-time job. Would I like for it to be a full-time job, turn into one with one of the big companies? I would love that. I love the aspect. I love being around with the athletes and everything else, and educating kids and everybody else and helping as much as possible. But for me, I can do my full-time job during the week and this stuff on the weekends or at night after work. And I worked all day today, and then I'm on this with you, tonight, right? As long as balance is still there, helping. I believe this aspect helps with my mental health on top of, everything else.
Right.
So, more, I would say I'd like to be involved with more companies. They would want to get me to come out and do some stuff with them, right? Maybe a company wants, like maybe Fanatics wants to say, hey, we want to do something on Memorial Day weekend. Can you come out and do some stuff with this baseball team and everything else, blah, 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 blah. Want me as a veteran in the industry, right? And on top of being a veteran, do stuff, more people reaching out rather than it right now. Hey, I got a question for you. Could I do this for you? And that stuff, asking everyone. I want to get to eventually the aspect people want to ask me.
Exactly.
But if it never gets there, it's completely fine, because I'll just continue doing everything that I'm doing and having a good time with it.
I love it. I love it. Exactly. That's why I always is happy to see your face at all these shows, conventions, and I hope that I get to see more of you in 2025 as well. So hopefully we can make it to the East Coast.
Yeah, you got.
I'm not going to be set up as much, but I'm probably going to do what you do, where I just show up.
Yeah, you just
hang
show
out.
up, enjoy it, and soak it all in. It really. So on top of this, it's really funny. So Collecticon put out their schedule for next year.
I heard
Richmond is the same weekend as the National.
What? Are you kidding me?
1 week it's at Richmond. It's the weekend of the National. I'm just like, oh.
You can't win, Alex. You can't win, dude.
Like, I guess I'm gonna miss the National to go to the Collecticon in my hometown. So
no, yeah. Well, that's like, where are you, man? I'm gonna be looking all over for you. So let's take some comments, and then I know it's late on your side in the East Coast, so we'll take some questions and we'll wrap it up. Okay?
Sounds good.
Carlos, Rise and Shine Curator Army. That's my dog. Sorry about that. Ready for another great show. Thank you, Carlos. Nice Saturday morning card T-shirt, Alex. And then he says, thank you for your service, Alex. Thank you, Carlos, for letting him know. And this is Ed in stalker mode, apparently. Hola, amigo, Merlin. Hello, Ed. I know it's you, dude. Ed says, Alex resembles Grizzly Adams. He's bonafide influencer. Okay. Well, he just has that hipster beard. You look like you've cut. Is it shorter than it usually is, or is it usually that?
Actually, no. I mean, it's trimmed up, whatever. And actually,
yeah, it looks shorter than normal, and your hair looks shorter.
I get it trimmed like every other month or whatever. So I brought it down farther than it used to really be.
Yeah, I thought so. You had it almost like Zach did.
It's getting thicker and stuff. So, but like next Wednesday, I have my next appointment.
I don't know how you do it in the summertime. Like, what's the weather right now in Richmond? Is it cold or brisk?
It is, but it so many people ask me, like, it doesn't make me hotter. It doesn't.
Oh man, I can feel it in LA, man.
What people don't know is, like, I have a really fat looking face, and this makes me.
Is that why guys do this? Is this why guys grow beards?
For me right now, if you would see my picture without it, trust me, you'd be like, nope, keep the beard on. I've showed multiple people that, and they're like, I'm completely fine with it. I also shaved every day for 22 years in the Army, and
because you had to, right?
Yeah, because I had to, and now I have the ability to do whatever I want, and I'm just like, occasionally, I keep a couple Cheetos and stuff in here saved for later and stuff, right? Because I forget it's there, and but in the end, I'm just like, I like the way it looks, and the individuals like it too, so it's like, I'm gonna keep it, but I don't like it as thick anymore, no. So every once in a while, I do bring it down.
I don't know how you do the thick one. Yeah, even when I grow it just a little, my girlfriend hates it, man. She's like, shave. So that's why I'm all clean cut, man. I have to shave. But I feel like every guy, after they turn 40, just lets the beard. I mean, I did too, but let it grow out. But once you find a woman who doesn't like it, then you got to get rid of it. It sucks, man. because all the girlfriends before that liked it, but it's the way it is. Carlos, great cards. Talk about you, Zach. And Carlos goes, great interview, Merlin. Well, thank you. We have a great interviewee. Ed says, damn, can't hide from my stalker. Yeah, I know it's you, man. I know it's you. Awesome card. Then says, gave my vote to, for Alex Army and got beef from my military family, Navy Marines. Uh-oh. The Navy Marines gave you, because you said, thanks, Alex. I think they'll be okay with that.
So what happened was on Instagram, I was part of. He's actually a professional gambler's. He did a service related contest where whoever won it with voting, he flew out to Vegas, got to gamble with him and everything else, and it was for a whole weekend. And it was one person from the Army, one person from the Navy, Marines, and the Air Force. And I just so happened to be the person he chose for the Army representative. So on Instagram and everything, I was out there just like, yeah, vote for me, vote for me. I ended up winning, and I got to go to Vegas Veterans Day weekend, all expenses paid, flight out there, hotel and stuff, yeah. And I got to gamble with him on his live stream.
What?
Yeah, it was an experience. It was just,
Where'd you stay?
We gambled at the Red Rock first.
Okay.
Then, on that Thursday, and then we went to Aria after that for the remaining 3 days.
Oh wow.
It's a very. If you ever see me, I'll post stuff with John Sirasani. That's the gambler and stuff.
Okay.
That's the guy that I got to do stuff with and everything. Very, very, very good guy. His persona is really. He's an alpha male type of person. I'll tell you that right now. But when behind the
fun experience.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And did you win?
Talking about all these people that were other, has family or ties to the other services.
Yeah.
Black because they voted for Army for me instead of voting for Marines and stuff on this.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, man. Okay. Follow up. Retro Hoops Collectibles. What's up, Merlin? What's up, Retro Hoops? Good to hear from you, man. Always check out his channel on YouTube, Retro Hoop Collectibles. That's who kind of got me started when I was in pandemic. I watched Retro Hoop Collectibles and all his stats about grading and everything. I don't know if you've ever watched his videos as well. I know he likes you too, Alex. Alex, you should have donated one of your cards to Chris Justice rant giveaway.
Do you know
Chris Justice?
So Cards Infinity, Chris Justice, he is the first person that ever put your hands in front of a camera and put it online. He technically came up with the idea of creating group breaks and doing it online and doing the videos.
Really?
Yes. So he owned his own card shop in North Carolina and everything else like that. And every year, what he would do, he'd do a rant video at the end of the year, which is a big giveaway a whole bunch of different products and cards and stuff like that.
Check this out.
But he just retired this year. After years, he finally retired. And when he made his video on Instagram, saying he posted on there too, like it got flooded with individuals, that he was the one that they all would watch videos all day long. And, when they're growing up and their inspiration, so many people were inspired by Chris Justice. And I've been a very big advocate for him to have a card in Allen and Ginter because of the way, how much of an influencer and aspect he has been in the card hobby, that he should be I don't want him in a set like Big League or anything else. Like, get him in Allen and Ginter, that product that is known for history and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. Where's he from in North Carolina? Do you even know?
Now in Pinehurst. He's right outside of
Pinehurst. Okay. So that's also near like Fayetteville. Santiago's fake beard. I'm number 12. Awesome. Welcome.
You know what Santiago's fake beard is going off of, right? Is people say
Santiago, yes.
They say because he lines it up, looks like he has a fake beard.
It's like so perfect, right? He's look like a Backstreet Boy in that beard. Well, anyway, that's the end of our comments. Take this way, Zach. Oh my God, Alex. Sorry, it's getting late. I'm getting hungry. I'm getting hangry. Anyway, do all your Alex Army ATC 22. Do all your plugs.
Yep, you can find me. Instagram's main place where I'm mostly on Army ATC 22. Actually, any social media site, you can be on any forum, any TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Army ATC 22 is me. I have the username across all of them. But my YouTube channel, I know you talked about a little bit what I want to do in 2025. I'm gonna bring back my YouTube channel back again because I mean it still has a whole bunch of old videos. I started a series this last year and I just never continued with it. I'm upgrading some new equipment and everything else, so I kind of want to bring back YouTube and do a few things and everything else. Maybe even at the card shows and stuff like that. I've always been that type of person. I don't want a camera crew following me around at a card show, but I want a camera crew following me around at a card show because
now, do you shoot all your content yourself?
I do.
You have someone now.
I shoot all myself, or if someone's with me, like Mac, he'll shoot stuff for me, for him or whatever. But it's like I don't want to be that person having a camera crew following me, but I wish I did because it's not so much the transactions, it's the stories, the talking, the given the educational aspect, interacting with the collectors and stuff like that. That's what I want to focus on, not the $1,000 deals back and forth constantly. Like there's enough of that out there. Let's hear the story of how you got
experience, right?
Experiences and stuff that you've gone through and everything else, and how you finally got here because you were stuck in traffic for 3 hours and you were afraid you were going to miss the big show and everything, talking about that type of stuff, right? But you can mainly interact with me on Instagram. Anyone that messages me, I respond back to all messages. I get a lot of questions about so many different things because I've been around for so long. And like I said, I was there when Topps and Upper Deck lost their licenses and then Panini took over. And now I'm here when Panini's losing their licenses and Topps is taking them back and everything, right? I've seen all that stuff. So people have questions on so many different things. Feel free to reach out. I respond to everybody. I go look into my requests. If you're not following, I'm not following you. They follow there. I open that up every other day just to make sure I'm not missing stuff.
Clean all your messages out.
Yeah, I clear them all. I don't like notifications. The OCD aspect is I hate notifications.
Oh my goodness!
I'm there. I'm like going in and clearing it out. But I'm here for the love of the same stuff that everyone else is, the love of the hobby and enjoying it and getting to meet individuals like you, and everything. Like the power of this has got me here today, co-hosting, celebrity co-host.
Yeah, right.
with you. And who would have? I mean, the hobby has got this to that, and I appreciate everything that has came out from it and stuff. And remember, if you're afraid to do anything, just do it and get over those fears. Like
that's right.
There's so many people that do not want to put their face in front of this camera and show themselves and to other individuals and stuff like that because they're afraid someone's going to fat shame them or anything else and stuff like that, right? Who cares? If it makes you happy, do it. Just do it, right? And enjoy it. And if it's not fun, guess what? Move on to something else.
That's exactly right. If you're not enjoying it, you shouldn't be doing this because this is supposed to be for fun, not stress. We got enough stress as it is. This is an escape. So just enjoy what you do and have fun. Yeah, well, Alex, I would like to.
Then you can pull cards like this. You can pull.
Oh, is that who I think it is?
It is. It's her, and it's numbered out of 25. This is like a $1,500 card.
What? Did you pull that?
I did.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So,
are you going to get it graded?
Right now, so here in Richmond, my buddy Patrick is probably one of the biggest Hayden Clark collectors in the
right.
He's bought all my stuff that I've.
That's a select what ringside?
Select it's select
rainbow
premier level. So premier level tie dye out of 25. One of my favorite.
Pretty cool.
One of my favorite looking parallels tie dyes. They're just beautiful out of 25. He's probably he's most definitely going to buy it from me, which is perfect.
Oh man, that's hot, dude. That's hot. That's on fire, man. Thank you for sharing everything. Not only do I want to thank you for your service you did in the military, but also just thank you your part into the hobby. making it what it is, bringing people together, because I feel like you and I have intertwined with so many people in this hobby all over the country and all over the world. So it's great to hear things about you from other people. I hear nothing but positive things. Please keep it up. Keep what you're doing. Keep your energy, your vibe, and I cannot wait to see you again at the next show. What's your next convention you're going to be at, or next thing you're attending?
So next weekend, I'm going to be at the Philly show, the Greater Philly Convention area, from the 13th to the 15th of December. And by the way, the 13th of December is my birthday.
So happy birthday! Early birthday!
I get to celebrate my birthday at a card show. It's going to be incredible.
You're a holiday baby.
Yeah, my birthday starts at 12 days of Christmas, so I'm good.
Oh wow, you're right there. You get a birthday present and a Christmas present within 2 weeks.
I think it's right there on that bubble.
Yes.
How many people have the birthdays right at Christmas that get intertwined together? It's like right on the outside where I still get to celebrate my birthday and then still celebrated Christmas afterwards.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'll be at the Philly show next weekend. And then, of course, for the holidays, not really doing anything. And then the first weekend in January, there's a big show. What's it called? Outside Pitch, I think, promotions down in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay. That's the one you're attending, right?
Yep, I'm actually going to be. I'm doing the media stuff for the Philly show, but that one I'm actually setting back.
Set up. Wow.
So that's a Saturday and Sunday show. Pretty excited. It's always a really good. Right after the New Year, when people have that Christmas cash ready to spend.
Christmas cash, little company party money they won in a raffle.
Yep, I think there is a front row show that weekend too. The first weekend.
Oh yeah, I'll be at that one in Las Vegas. I'll be attending that one with Donald, the show locator, and a few other people. That'll be a good one, because I was hoping the Eagles were going to play at the Sphere that weekend, because I've been to the Sphere twice to see shows. I saw U2 and Fish there. Yeah. If you ever go to Vegas, you got to go to the Sphere to see any concert or any event, man. It's worth the money. It's expensive, but worth it. Yeah,
that when I was there during the Veterans Day weekend, something was going on and they didn't have anything available to go, and I was just like, oh, I wanted to go see it so bad.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's like a dead weekend. So the Eagles aren't playing yet. They're going to start a week later, but they're playing I think till March or April now. They keep extending it, which is pretty cool. But I'm ready to see a show there again. You got to go. Anyway, I want to wrap this up. I want to thank you again for everything. And dude, I can't wait to see you. Happy early birthday, happy holidays, happy New Year, and let's make more content and collect more cards, Alex. Yep. And we'll be on next week again, guys. Make sure you subscribe, like, hit the comments, do whatever you can. I'll have more celebrity guests, just like Alex Tressler here. Next Tuesday night, same bat time, same bat channel, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific on both channels. Great Curator and Merlin Collects. Until the next time, guys, see you all later. Until the next time, bye-bye, guys.
Later.
Bye-bye.